Sanibonani Molweni. Welcome to Empowerment Podcast. Welcome to Empowerment Talk Show, where we're addressing issues and topics that matters. This is the day that the Lord has made for us to rejoice and be glad in it. My name is Khayelihle and I am your host. I'm not alone. I have my partner with me, Mr. Vision.
Yes, greetings. Welcome again to another powerful episode of Empowerment Talk Show. We welcome you, and please make sure that you tune in, and please keep on sharing those links with your friends and your family. And you can also find our Facebook page on Facebook at Empowerment Podcast. We also have a Facebook group where you can just say hashtag empowerment_podcast. We are also available on Instagram at empowerment_podcast.
Yes, you can just search for Empowerment Podcast on any media platform. Just search Empowerment Podcast. Today we have a guest that we are going to be introducing to you guys shortly. Other one is Dr. Makhathini. He's not a new face. He's just part of our family now. So he is here today, and we have a new face on the Empowerment Podcast, Mr. Mbelu. But without any further of wasting time, let's just, Dr. Makhathini, please greet our viewers and our listeners today.
Thank you, Sitole, for this opportunity again, and also to the Empowerment Podcast. Thank you for the opportunity that you've been giving me to come and to address certain topics. And thank you, and also greeting everyone at home, and also the brother that I'm with today, Mr. Mlungisi.
Okay, thank you, Doc. Mlungisi, please greet our viewers as well.
Greetings to you, Stole, Mr. Vision, and Dr. Makhathini, and greetings to all the viewers listening. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yes, I think that Mr. Vision will be able to introduce the topic for us today as to what are we going to be talking about. So over to you.
All right. Greetings again to everyone, every listeners. Today we'll be talking about the grief. Since you know that in the country or in the whole world, we have been seeing this pandemic, and their lives that were lost during this pandemic. So today we'll be talking about grief, since it's something that people do not get a chance, or this is a certain topic that is not given a chance to be addressed, because the truth is that people are suffering from after losing their loved ones. There's a certain period of time where people are grieving, and there is no one there to comfort them, because they have no one who open their arms and to give them a chance to talk. How are they feeling? How are they coping? So today we'll be looking at the topic as one of our guests, Mlungisi, is going to share his story about what took place during this pandemic, and there's a lot that we're going to ask, and so that people who are listening at home can also be helped of this issue, because we know that losing a loved one is not something that you can get over it just like that. There's a certain stages that you need to undertake so that we can heal completely. So today we decided as an Empowerment Talk Show to open this platform to make sure this topic is out there, so that people, they can know that there are ways that you can heal. There are ways that you can explore what another thing is that you can do to heal, because losing a loved one is not something that is easy. I believe that all of us here have lost someone that they love, and it was not easy. So we want to make sure that everyone who's listening to Empowerment Talk Show knows that we are there for you, and we'll try by all means to talk about those issues that are not spoken of. So, Mr. Mlungisi, I would like to first give you a chance to describe yourself, or let's just say you introduce yourself, like who is Mr. Mlungisi, and just tell us briefly more about yourself, then we can get into our first question.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Vision. So as it has been mentioned, my name is Mlungisi Mbelu. I stay at Umzinto, but I was born at KwaDumisa, KwaPatani. So currently I'm residing at Umzinto. I'm a young boy. I may look old, but I'm a young boy. 30 years of age. I'm self-employed. I'm in the music and events business, but due to COVID, I had to venture to other businesses. As we all know that currently we can't host any events. So that's what I do for a living. And I must say that I'm a born-again Christian. I'm a child of God.
You know what, I like what you said, Mr. Mlungisi, the fact that due to COVID, you had to venture into other means of making a living, which means that we can't cry and say that COVID has done this to us, but we need people who will be open-minded and try to venture into anything that will bring bread on the table. So that's a point that I got. On the first point, that's the first point, that people need to venture and try to venture into other means of making money. So we're just going to get through to what we are going to be talking about. For you, Dr. Makhathini, what does grief plays in one mind and emotions?
Yeah, it's it's one of those difficult times that we are in, and sometimes the way we accept, or with the way we get into understanding all of this, what is happening, it will be different. For example, like as we're talking today, as we are saying, as we're talking about the grief today, then the grief, not all of us we grieve the same way. We grieve in different ways, and some other people. I remember these 5 stages of. I think it's Kubler-Ross model is the one that developed that type of model, where he came up with these 5 stages of grief. Then people, they were thinking that in these 5 stages, the way the guy listed those stages, and then they thought the stages, you need to follow the pattern of those stages, but which is unlike that. Some other people can go through 1 stage, other people can go through 2 stage, other people, they can go all 5 stage. Secondly, when it comes to grief, it's something that it have a time frame, it have a time, it have time period. Therefore, your also as human beings, we are different to each other. Some other people, they can grieve 1 week and then they are over, and then they are continuing with life. Some other people, it will take months, some other people, it will take years. Therefore, at the end of the day, I believe that a person, whatever stage that he or she go through, must able to seek help. Then maybe I've been talking about this stage when people they will ask themselves that what are these stage, and then to just in summary, we have the first thing that happened. It's what we call denial. Therefore, your question is asking about in terms of the mind. Remember our first talk, we talked broadly about the mind in terms of that when we're born, we are born with our brain is empty. We have the brain, but the brain is empty. It's like having a vacuum. A vacuum, you have the vacuum. The vacuum is just a container that it either can contain water or whatever substance that it can contain. But until you pour that substance in that vacuum, therefore the vacuum will start doing its function or according to its capacity. Therefore, it's same things applies with our brain. Our brain, when we are born, we born with no pathways in our brain. We born with no one knowing, our brain knowing. Therefore, what happened as we grow up, we meet different people. We meet we have families. We're coming from families. We're coming from different families, and then we have friends. We have all of those people, and then these people, they end up becoming the part of our life. Therefore, when they depart, therefore that's where the frustration comes, because now our brain, in your pathway, you have this certain someone that you know, you have the memory for either it can be your friend, can be your parent, can be anybody. But now if that person is no longer there or no longer with us or no longer with you in this planet Earth, therefore will having the problem. Therefore, that's why people, mostly everyone, go to that point of when somebody passed away, then you go for denial. Therefore, you get confused. That means now your brain now is starting now need to adjust again that, okay, so and so is no more. Okay. Then the second stage is anger, which is sometimes it can happen simultaneously. You can be in denial at the same time. You are angry, you are frustrated, you are irritated, you are anxious at the same time. You see, the fear is there, the shock is there. Then the other stage that we're talking about the bargaining. The bargaining, it's where you are struggling to find the meaning. You find people asking themselves, why have happened this? Why, God, we have done this? Why you didn't take me? Other people, they even say like that, why you didn't take me? Why did you take so and so? You see, then sometimes they want to, in that stage, sometimes people, they want to reach to other people. But you find that when they reach to other people, they will be asking the same question. I don't know why God have done this to me. I don't know why God have done this to me. Therefore, you can spend hours and hours with a person, and a person will be just like telling you one and the same story. You see, that person is in the stage of bargaining. Therefore, that's where a person now is starting to voice out. That means that it needs a lot of support. Therefore, that is the stage where you can come in and one of the most thing that I always see that is very important when somebody have lost somebody is to be there for a person. You see, is to listen than giving advice. You see, you need to listen to the person because a person wants somebody to talk to. And even can be telling you the same story. You must make sure that you are not bored with that story that is telling you. You must make sure that you are there for a person. Then the other stage that they talk about is depression. Therefore, a person feel overwhelmed, helplessness, and he feel that is in this hostility or is in this vacuum that he cannot able to come out. A person is depressed. A person cannot able to do anything. Then the last stage is accepting. Then a person finally accepting that this thing has happened. It means that I need to move on. Therefore, a person need to find a new plan, need to find exploring the new option now, what I can do to move on. Therefore, those two stage, depression and acceptance, we normally associated with guidance and direction. That means that a person needs a guidance and a direction.
Thank you so much, Mr. Makhathini, for this information that you just given us. So, Mr. Mlungisi, this is for you. Please tell us how has COVID-19 affected you individually and your family as a whole?
Okay, thanks again, Mr. Vision. COVID-19 affected us very badly. But let me just start here. When COVID-19 started last year, we went on lockdown in March, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
At that time, there were jokes going around on social media that COVID-19 only kills people you don't know. Because at that time, like for myself, I didn't know of anyone who was infected, and I didn't know of anyone who has died of COVID-19. So I myself, I'm guilty of that, of those jokes that COVID-19 only kills people you don't know. Because when you're watching TV, you would see the stats, you would see the numbers. That numbers are rising, but you don't know of anyone who has COVID or who has died of COVID. So, but in June, that's where I realized that COVID-19 exists, because I was infected by COVID-19. In my family, we're a family of 5. It's my parents, my father and my mother, my 2 sisters and 1 nephew. So I got sick in June. I started with the flu. So I got sick. Eventually, my father and my mother also got sick. So all of us were sick. So we went to the doctor. When we went, they did tests, and we found out that we all positive for COVID-19. And that's when I realized, no, this thing is real. And it was bad, because for a week I lost appetite, I lost taste, I wasn't eating, I couldn't go to work. I was always in bed. So that's how terrible it was. And to a point where there was a point where I thought, no, I think I'm gonna die now, because I was weak. I was so weak. Like, it was hard to do anything. But with the grace of God, I must say that we did recover. All of us in my house, we recovered. But my mother had to, because her situation was worse. She has to be admitted in hospital. And during that time, for a person to be admitted in hospital, it was very scary, because at that time, like, people were dying when they were going to hospital. So, but by the grace of God, she recovered. And then eventually, obviously, we had to go on quarantine for 14 days. And that was traumatizing on its own, because, like, if you used to going to the shops, all of a sudden you can't leave your house, because we have to follow the rules that when you're in quarantine, you must be indoors. Like, you can't leave your home. That was hard for us to experience, I must say that. So by the grace of God, we all recovered. And then after that, like, as soon as we finished our quarantine, then members of my family started passing away due to COVID-19. And it was shocking, I must say, because it's people who were healthy, people you didn't expect they would die so soon. And there was this thing, there's COVID-19 only affects or kills elderly people. But in my family, it also took lives of young people also. For instance, my mother's sister died of COVID-19. And the painful part about her, she was a school principal, and she just retired in 2019. So, when a person was working, especially like for government, when they retire, they expect to receive their pension monies and stuff. So with her, she died not even receiving her pension after retiring, because like, she died so soon after retiring. And that was painful. Like, it's painful to lose a person, but to think this person has been working for 30 years, and now she's coming home to enjoy her life, enjoy her pension money, but now she won't enjoy it anymore. That is painful, I must say. And these are the people that were pillars of the family. Then after that, I also lost an aunt on my father's side. Day after, it was my aunts on my father's side passed on first. Then the aunt I'm talking about, on my mother's sister, passed on the following day. And we know that if a person died of COVID, you can't wait maybe like till the weekend to bury the person. You have to do it as soon as possible, in such a way that two of them had to be buried on the same day. So the family had to be divided. Some had to go bury my aunts on my father's side, and other members had to go and bury like my aunt on my mother's side. So that on its own, it was something new, because like especially with us, if somebody passes away, you wait even for the relative in Joburg to come and attend the funeral. But now everything had to be done so quick, and also on the funeral day, because now the person's body cannot be like with us during the service. So to see the coffin out of the hearse going straight to the grave, like that's traumatizing. It wasn't an easy experience to go through. So it was very painful. And this was in July last year. Then in August, I lost a sister, also due to COVID. And with her case, it was also very painful, because she was only married for 5 years. She still had small kids. I think her youngest kid was about 3 years, 2 years or 3 years, I'm not sure. So even that, to lose somebody like that who's been married just for 5 years, somebody who was a pillar in the family, somebody you knew that if you have a problem, you can go to them, talk to them, and they will give solutions. So, you see, so like we know in the families we have different people, and as I'm saying, these people were not just ordinary people; they were pillars in the family. So to lose such people, it was very painful, I must say.
Yeah. Okay, I just have a question for Dr. Makhathini. I know it wasn't a planned question, but I just feel like asking that in a situation like Mr. Mlungisi Mbelu's situation, whereby everything is done in a rush, funeral and all those things, and the people who didn't attend the funeral, how do they get into a phase whereby they find closure? Because I think us as Africans, we only find closure when we've buried our loved one and we've been there with them, with the body and all those things. Even as Christians, we believe in seeing our loved one being laid into the grave, it brings closure. So with the situation like this one of COVID, where everything is done in a rush, how do you reach that phase of saying, I have reached my closure?
Yeah, thanks for your question. It's it's a difficult question to answer. But the thing is that we need to understand is that what makes us, it's also the culture that we are born into it. Therefore, the culture, it has been there, and it's what Mlungisi has shared. It's been something that has been, I remember one of my colleagues is doing the research in terms of the burial and all things like that. Then they were finding it so difficult. People are finding it so difficult to bury their loved ones, because at the end of the day, a person, as Mlungisi has shared, a person, when the coffin comes, it comes sometimes, it's wrapped in the plastic, and you can't even open the coffin and look at if it is real your person or not, even those few of the family that attended the funeral, which is it's one of those situations which is it's out of control. We can't control it because the virus, it continues still infect people even when the person dies. Therefore, I still believe that one of the most important thing is that even the burial has happened. People, they need to find a way of coming together. The families need to find a way of coming together and support each other. And also in terms of that, let's say, when we see, because you find that the wave at the moment, we are at the peak or we're at the decline of the wave. When the wave has declined, then like mostly in South Africa, they've put that there is level 1, there's level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. When it's almost around level 1, therefore, the families and relatives, I still believe that they can able to come together and either they sit and have memories for their loved ones. Because at the end of the day, we need to understand one thing is that when we are in this planet Earth, we are here to serve purpose. That is the first principle of life. The principle of life is that we are here in this planet Earth to serve what? To serve our purpose. Therefore, as a human being, you have dreams, you have ambitions, you have all of these things that you want to accumulate. But at the end of the day, if your purpose, you have served it, therefore God can take you anytime. Therefore, in order for me, what I can say is that in order for people to find closure is that they need to find a way of reaching to each other as a family and sit and talk and have memories about that person. And yeah, I still believe that people can able to find closure on that in a way, because we can't change what is happening now. It is what is happening. Therefore, it means that as much as our brain or our mind is not in the state of accepting it, is not in the state of understanding it, is not in a state of saying that no, that how life is happening at the moment. But at the end of the day, we need to find a way of comforting each other so that we can move on with life.
Wow, that's good. So, Mr. Mlungisi, I was listening to your story and how you explained how COVID-19 affected your family and yourself personally. So, if I may ask, how can you tell us how come did you guys got infected with this virus? Were there any gatherings that you were in that after you came from those gatherings you started feeling sick, or how come did you get infected?
You see, even today, I still ask myself that question. Because as soon as the country was on lockdown, level 1, we're always at home. Like, we'll only go out to the shops. We've never been to any gatherings, if I remember. Because we tried by all means to respect the regulations and the laws passed by the government, but also to protect ourselves. That we tried by all means to stay indoors and only go out like when you go to the shops to buy food and stuff. So really, I can't say how we got it. It was a shock. It was a shock in such a way that when I first experienced flu, I thought it was just a normal flu, like how I normally have flu like previously. But this time around, it was different. And as I said, that to a point that I lost appetite. I wasn't eating for an entire week. I was in bed the entire week. And during that time, it was as if my mind wasn't working properly. Because like when you got flu and like days go past, you go to the doctor. But during this time, it didn't cross my mind like to go to a doctor and get medication. I just thought it was just gonna end. But it didn't. In fact, it got worse. Then that was the time we went to the doctor, and when we went there, they took tests. As soon as I walked in, the ladies told me, we need to do a COVID test on you because you look bad. Then I said, no, it's fine. But I was scared, I must say, because there's this thing like it's as if it's embarrassing to be like positive with COVID, you see. And it's like when you're positive, you cannot associate yourself like with other people. Like sometimes I did experience this, and people like would be they want to be like associate themselves with you because it's like you're gonna infect them, you see. So like it was that scary, like to do the test. Like it had that fear, but eventually, because I was bad, they had to do the test. Then 2 days after, I found out that I was positive, and all of us in my house we were positive. So really, I still don't know till this day how we got infected. Yeah.
I hope I don't look bad. I hope I don't look like someone who's got COVID with the flu that I'm currently having.
No, you look very fine.
Praise the Lord.
To how I look, compared to how I look like, and also sing like, because I stay with my parents.
Yes.
Like, you would see they've changed. You would see the face. No, how sick we were, and we expected anything, anytime. You see, You see, like if I lost a member in my family during that time, it wasn't gonna be a big shock. Realizing how bad we were, because as I said, like almost all of us, like we lost appetite. We weren't eating, so you can just imagine not eating for an entire week. How you would look like. So that's how bad it was.
I guess that there's no certain way of saying that you can get COVID-19, because if you are saying, as you are explaining your story, Mr. Mlungisi, it's the fact that you don't know how you got affected by COVID-19, but the next thing you were sick, you weren't eating, lost appetite, and everyone at home was feeling the same, and you were at home respecting the rules that were laid by the government, you know. So there's,
Can I just share
Yes.
About my sister. That's as I said that she passed on. With her, she was always indoors. She was very scared of COVID. But it took her life. She didn't go even to the shops. Like, she would send somebody to the shop because she was so scared, to a point that she would even lock herself in the room. She didn't want to be close with her own kids. You see, so you like, there's no way of saying that you won't get it. You see, so yeah. Like, we can try to prevent, but not 100%. Because with my sister, I know very well, because I used to call her. She was always in her room because she was so afraid of COVID-19. So she thought, like, keeping herself in the room, she was going to be protected, but somehow she was infected and she didn't make it.
Okay, with that being said, I think let's do this. I have a surprise for our guests. Like I said, that we have a surprise for them. So I just need you guys to choose one of the things that I'm going to say. And like, you have to answer same time. So truth or dare? Truth or dare?
Truth.
Okay. Doc?
Truth.
Okay. Okay, this goes to Mr. Mlungisi. If you could be invisible, what is the first thing that you can do?
Yo.
For instance, I know if I can be invisible, I'd go to the lotto offices and get the money. Like, I'll go there. If I could be invisible, I'll go there, change the numbers. That's what I could do. So it's simple like that. You just need to be honest. Because you chose truth. So what would you want to do?
I know. I would go to heaven. I would want to go to heaven and see how heaven looks like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, I would go to that place that is on
That's what
earth.
I'm curious about. No. That's what I'm most curious about.
You want to see? Okay.
You want to know what is happening other side.
Yes, I need to know how it's like there.
That's a great one. That's a great one, Mr. Mlungisi. So you know about what is happening on earth, because you're still gonna come back. That's a great one. You got me there.
Yes, I am gonna come back. Yes, just for one day.
You got me there. Okay, that's fine. Let's move on to Dr. Makhathini, because he also chose truth. What is the weirdest trend you've ever participated in? Whether it's on Twitter or Instagram, any trend that was weird and you participated in?
Yeah, no, I've never participated in any weird trend. Serious. The only thing that I love doing it are the jokes. Yes. Okay. I can go to any trade and read about the trade, but I will not participate on it.
So you're just a spectator there. You're sitting at the corner and reading the 11,000 comments that have been given.
No, if like there are many, also again, I don't read all of them. I just like look at and see it. Oh, okay, then what is happening? Moreover, on Twitter, like I'm not even active on Twitter because Twitter. It's not good. No, I can't deal with Twitter.
Twitter is brutal.
It's brutal. Yo. People get it like I don't know. It's like they don't have senses in their life. Exactly. You see, while things are bad, but like they can be like dishing a person like nobody's business. And I don't want to be involved in this.
Okay, this brings me into this. I just wanted us to just get our minds and senses of laughter and all that, because we have to be alive. So this brings us to the question for Dr. Makhathini, that we know that COVID-19 has impacted everyone, direct and indirect. I remember when we buried our loved one at home, she wasn't affected by COVID, but we were all skeptical. because of the numbers that were growing high at this time. The numbers are got high when people are in the gatherings and funeral, all those things. And we had elderly people. You can't say at home, my grandmother is not supposed to come to the funeral to bury her child. So we can't be insensitive like that. So I think that is also one thing that has impacted in our lives, that we got scared in going to the funerals. So this brings me into this question of asking that, now that we know that COVID-19 has affected us indirect and direct, so what can you say, or what can you advise someone who got affected by this in both ways, in a way of trying to move on? Like, what is the way that you can say, okay, you've been affected by this direct, or you've been affected by this COVID indirectly, but as an advice for you to be able to move on, you can try and do this?
Firstly, maybe to try to answer that question, because this is an empowerment podcast and it is influenced by God. Then there is one of the story that happened in the Bible, which is, I think it's found in Matthew 14, I think from verse 22 to 33. Then that story, it's about Jesus Christ and his disciples. What happened is that after they had a mountain talk or sermon in the mountain, then Jesus Christ dispersed the people and also dispersed his disciple and said to his disciple, they must enter to the boat and then they must cross to on other side of the sea. Then Jesus Christ didn't enter to the boat, but instead of entering to the boat, he went to the mountain to pray. Therefore, I think that time it was around the time of the sunset. But what happened is that the disciples went to the boat and then they tried to paddle and to cross over the sea. But surprisingly is that Jesus Christ came down from the mountain, I think it was the midnight, and then it's coming down, and then the disciple, they are not even further to cross the sea. They are still paddling because there is a storm, there is the wind, there is all of these things, there's chaos. Then in the midst of that chaos, Jesus Christ is coming walking on top of the water. As he is walking on top of the water, then these ones, they are in fear of everything that is happening around them. And remember, the disciples of Christ were people that were well trained with water, because some of them they were fishermen. They were the fishers. They were dealing with the fishing industry. Therefore, it means that they knew every tactics or every technique that they can use whenever there is a storm or whatever thing. But they found themselves like useless and hopelessness, and not knowing what they can do in the midst of the storm. But Jesus Christ is walking on top of the water while there is a storm. Okay. What I'm trying to say, okay, the story again continues, and then the Peter said that this is a ghost, or the disciples said that this is a ghost. And then Jesus Christ said, no, it is me, guys, it's not a ghost. And then Peter says that if you are Jesus Christ, tell me to come out the boat and come to you. And then Jesus said, no, come. And when the Peter came out of the boat, the storm was not quiet. He came out of the boat, jumped out of the boat, and then also he found himself also walking on what? On the water. But in that midst of walking in the water, what happened? He sank. Because the doubt kicks in. Yeah. The doubt kicks in, then after that, he sank. Then Jesus Christ, he stretched his hand and then he picked him up, and then they entered to the boat. Then Jesus Christ said that he said that he addressed the storm, and then the storm was quiet. Yes. Why I'm bringing this story? I'm bringing this story that the time that we are in that time of where there is a storm and things are happening. We can't trust now because we have a lot of doubts. We sleep, we don't know if we are going to wake up the following day. You go to the mall, you don't know when you come back what you'll be having. You see, we are in that midst. What I'm trying to say, life is about experiences. Life is like a book. There are chapters that have meaning. There are chapters that when you read, you end up asking yourself what the author was trying to do with this chapter. Because this chapter, it doesn't bring any meaning to me. But at the end of the day, in order to understand the next chapter of life or the next chapter of that book, you need what? You need to read the chapter that you don't understand. We are in that midst. No one likes this time that we are in. No one understands these times that we are in. It is the season, it is the weird season, it is the painful season, it is the season that we do not know even if we'll overcome it, even us that we are still on earth. You see, but we must have this hope in God that if Jesus Christ is on our side,
who can be against us?
Exactly. And who can be against us?
Yes.
That's what happened in that situation when the disciple had that fear. And again, sometimes you find that you woke up in the morning having a hope, full of faith, but during the day you hear a negative thing, and then that thing, it kicks in and then it collapses you. That means the same thing that happened to Peter when he looked at the storm, and then he had a doubt of that, oh man, that means I'm going to sink. And then he sank. You see, and we hear Jesus Christ saying that, oh, you have a little faith.
Yes.
I still believe that as human beings, mostly if you are a Christian, and it is one of that time that we are in where we are tested so much. Our faith is tested. Our life is tested. It's either you are Christian or not Christian, but everyone is tested in this time. Therefore, in order for us to move on, I still believe that, and I'm one of the person that is believing on having me moment. I call them me moment. The me moment, it is the moment where you have a meeting with yourself. This thing is something sometimes that we do not do that much, but it's something that for me, I always say that it's very important. At least have a 30 minutes of your time every week. You see, once a week, you can have a meeting with your life. Where I am. How can I come out of this? You see, you need to have a meeting, because once you have a meeting with yourself, it's where you start to understand yourself. Because even us as we are living here, we don't understand ourselves, but we rely on the Holy Spirit, who is the one that can upload things to our mind. And when it's uploading things into our mind, that's where we get to understand where we are going and what we need to do. Therefore, this moment, it will be doing the self-evaluation. You will be doing the self-introspection. You will be digging or understanding yourself and also taking new decisions. Because at the moment, we are in the moment where even the career sometimes that we started, sometimes now we are seeing it that they are going down. We cannot able to make it using this old career. That means that now you need to have a change. I like the way Mlungisi have said at the beginning that the time he found out like he cannot able to do the entertainment industry, he needed to branch to something. You see, therefore it goes back to what we have said in our last talk when we are saying that people, they need to rethink now. Therefore, it's about rethinking now. It's about revising your goals and revising your attitude of looking things, the way we look things before and the way we are looking things now. Therefore, whatsoever, if you are an entrepreneur or if you are working or if you are doing anything, but at the end of the day, you need to align now with this fourth industrial revolution that is being introduced. Because at the end of the day, even after COVID, the life will never go back to normal.
Yes, that's true.
It will never go back to normal, because the COVID is not just there. The COVID is there to change the culture. Our culture, the way we do things. And some other people now, they're starting saying that, no, it's very nice to have a limited number of people, whatever event they're doing, you see, because it casts the cost and everything. I was saying, I think it was on Facebook, like people that were getting married, I think they were about 20. They only have families, 2 families. They came together and they got married. And sometimes you find that there are a lot of things that we cannot achieve because we want to do the big event. But even in those big events, we end up like going to loans and all things like that. What I can say that it is the moment where we need to do what? We need to rethink and also taking a new decision. Because remember, life is about making the series of decisions. You are here today because of the decision that you have made today.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Makhathini, for such words. And in everything that you have spoken, I pick up a lot of faith that we, as much as we are going through this, but we should not lose faith in God or in everything, regardless of how the situation may be.
Sure.
And just to ask these questions, Mr. Mlungisi, what are ways or any advice that you can give to someone who is grieving to losing his or her loved one due to COVID-19? What are the advice that you can give to those people who are going through that situation since you have passed those situations?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vision, for that question. First of all, let me say, as people, we come from different backgrounds. We have different beliefs. So I will just speak as a Christian or as a child of God, and because I also went through this. So as much as it's painful to lose somebody you love, to lose a family member, but the main thing that should always be in your mind is believing that God is still alive, believing that God still loves you. Because I think as long as you still believe that God is there, that you still believe that God will make a way, you are able to carry on with life. You see, so what I can say is that never lose your trust in God. Always have your faith in God. And as Dr. Makhathini was saying also, you also need to spend time with yourself, as he was saying. He was saying something about me time. Spend time with yourself. Like, it's good to listen to what other people have to say, but it's also important to listen to yourself. Spend time with yourself, listen to yourself, listen to God, listen to what God has to say. Because at times, because we are not just like ordinary beings, like we have the Holy Spirit living in us. Sometimes the Holy Spirit will even reveal to you, like, even the reason why the person had to die, you see. So with us, it's to trust in God, listen to the Holy Spirit. That I think that would heal you in a way. Yeah. So yeah, it's that. I would say that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mlungisi Mbelu. That is very powerful, because indeed we are Christians and we believe in God. And I think from the beginning of this episode, we've been giving people hope and also speaking about hope. So we didn't say that people should lose hope. And we're not in denial of the fact that we have been affected by COVID-19, so we're not dismissing that we just want to encourage someone to see life beyond being affected by COVID-19. This brings me to you, Dr. Makhathini. Do you have any last words that you can give to people that can empower someone who doesn't see light due to the COVID-19 and is at the verge of just giving up because he or she is saying, I cannot do this. Maybe he or she's the breadwinner of the house, and now they can't provide for the family because this thing is deep. It doesn't just affect one-sided. Maybe it doesn't affect the youth only, but it affects even people who were providing for their families. And now, obviously, what is going to be done now? So we need to empower those people to see the light and to carry on. So over to you, sir, Mr. Makhathini.
Okay. One of the things that I can say about what you have asked is that it is very important to live a life that is purpose-driven. That's the most important thing. A life that is purpose-driven, it's a key. It's what we are here for. We are here in this planet for a certain assignment. Sometimes other people, like there's one of the things that Mlungisi have said in the beginning, saying that they are one of the people that have passed away from his family or his relatives. They were the pillars of of homes or of their homes or of their house. Therefore, you find that they have these people that are the pillars, are the breadwinners, people that, in order to be a pillar at home, it's because the relatives, when they come to you, they always find solution. They always whatever thing that they are seeking clarity for, they get it, and whatever issues that they have, then you can able to clarify for them. But one of the things that we forget sometimes is that these people, they are placed by God for a certain time. Therefore, for a mere fact that you have lived longer in this planet Earth, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you are better than the person that lived 20 years on Earth and died. Because the purpose that we are here in this planet Earth is not the same. The assignment, it is not the same. Our assignment, you come here on planet Earth and do your assignment and leave once the assignment is done. Some other people, they will not complete the vision that they have. They will build the foundation, but somebody must come and build wall. You see, that's how life it is. Life, it is like that. And the day we accept that, we will have much understanding when somebody leave this earth, that we understand that is still going to live on another planet that we do not know. But we understand one thing, that if the most important thing that we need to do here, we are here to be innovators. We are here to bring or impact our families, impact our community, impact our country, and also impact the world. Therefore, our impact, it will never be the same. Some of people, they will be impacting their families. Some other people, they will impact their communities. Some other people, they will impact their country and impact the world. Therefore, it depends upon your assignment that is assigned to you by God. And then once you have executed your assignment, therefore, what is going to happen is that God is going to take you away. The issue of people passing in this planet Earth is that we do not know the date. Secondly, we do not know the method that God is going to use to take those people away from us. Therefore, for me, my last word, I can say it is very important to live life that is purpose-driven. Because if it is purpose-driven, it means that you make an impact that will remain in your family, and your family can able to build on what you have done and on what you have accomplished. That's the most important thing. At the end of the day, I know that as we're talking offline, that we want to go to Dubai, we want to go this, we want to drive big cars, we want to stay in mansions. But the issue is that it's not the goal of God. It is the goal of ourselves, because as human beings, we see that this planet Earth, it have also its own beauty. You see, as Mlungisi have said, that the thing that if can be invisible can go to heaven. You want to see what is happening on heaven. But at the end of the day, those that are in heaven, they are rejoicing of what they have there. as us, we are here in this planet Earth and we are rejoicing of what we have. Therefore, whatever opportunity that we get, we must make sure now, whatever thing that we do it to the core of our life. Because we understand one thing, that life is an opportunity. And if God has still given that opportunity, leave it to fulfill your purpose and your assignment.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much to you, Doc, for your last words, and also to Mr. Mlungisi Mbelu for gracing us and for embracing the Empowerment Podcast Studio. And I think that one thing that I've taken from you both is the fact that you are encouraging us to make sure that we embed the faith in our minds and also in our hearts. And lastly is the fact that you are inspiring us to be not to make sure that we are not nonchalant towards the consequences of the COVID-19 and the impact that it has done in our lives. So I'm truly grateful for you to have embraced our studios. I don't know if Mr. Nkanyiso wants to say any last words.
No, just want to say thank you guys for showing up. It was great to listen to different minds, and we believe that our listeners at home, they were also inspired, and all those who have been going through grief, they now understand that how they can heal from it. And there's a lot that Mr. Minister, Mr. Makhathini have given to them to heal, because we know that losing someone, you really need healing from that. So thank you for this opportunity for you guys to come up. Since we hope that Mr. Mlungisi, this will be not your last time having you on Empowerment Talk Show. There's this part where you spoke about venturing to another business opportunity. So one day we might invite you again to talk, to speak to us. How did that happen, and how was the process from moving forward you used to a new thing? Those was something that came into my mind when you raised that point of venturing to another business. So thank you guys for this opportunity to come in to be with us on the conversation.
Yes, thank you so much to everyone, to our viewers at home, and to everyone who's going to be listening to this show. Thank you so much. We love you. Please take care, guys. Please make sure that you sanitize your hands, wear your mask, be with your loved ones, protect your loved ones, protect yourself as well. And if you're not feeling well, like myself, please make sure that you stay indoors, just so that everyone's going to be safe. With that being said, till next time, we love you guys. Goodbye.
Bye.